Dear students, in this class we will discuss about what is known as particle in one-dimensional box. What is known as particle in a one-dimensional box. You know, this is basically an application of Schrodinger equation. In the previous class, we have derived the Schrodinger equation. This is one of the application of Schrodinger equation. What is known as particle in a one-dimensional box. So what is this particle in a one-dimensional box? That we'll try to understand. So for that, if you look at this diagram here, we have a potential well. We have a potential well. You see, this is the well of height, infinite height. What is the width of the well? The width of the well is, here it is x equals to 0, here it is x equals to a. Means the width of the well is written as a. So we have a potential well of width a, which starts at x equals to 0 and ends at x equals to a. So we have a potential well or a box of width a. The height of the well or the box is taken as the infinite. Means the height is infinite. The width is fixed of width a. And here we are saying that there is a particle. There is a particle present in the box. So that particle is allowed to move in the x direction. Means if suppose that the particle present here, this particle is allowed to move in the x direction from here to here or here to here. So we assume that there is a particle present in the box or in the potential well of width a of infinite height, means the wall height is infinite and the particle is assumed to be moving in only one direction. Therefore we say that it is a one-dimensional. Why it is one-dimensional? Because the particle is assumed to move in only one direction, that is in the x direction from 0 to a. Right? Then inside the box, the potential energy is taken as 0. So what V equals to 0 indicates? If you say the potential energy is equals to 0, it means that there is no external force acting inside the wall. Why? Because the height of the wall is infinite. As a result, there is no external force or external field acting on the particle. Therefore, the potential energy inside the well is taken as 0. That is, V equals to 0 inside the well. V equals to 0 inside the well, meaning that there is no external force or external field acting on the particle. It is free to move in only one direction, that is in the x direction. Whereas the potential energy V is taken as infinite with V equals to infinity outside the well. So V equals to infinity outside the well. What it indicates? V equals to infinity outside the well indicates that there is no particle present outside the well, or there is no particle outside the box. So the particle is present within the box and it is assumed to move in only one direction from x equals to 0 to x equals to a, that is in the x direction. Right? So this setup we call it as what is known as a particle in a one-dimensional box. Particle in a one-dimensional box. So I said this is one of the application of time-independent Schrodinger equation. By using this, we are going to find out the energy of the particle. That is, the main aim is to find out the energy of the particle which is present in the box and it is moving in the only one direction, that is in the x direction. So we try to calculate by using the time-independent Schrodinger equation. We try to calculate the energy of the particle which is present in the box, and from that we draw some certain conclusions and we compare that energy with that of the classical concept and we make some conclusions. Right? So we'll try to understand what is all about in this. Right? So as per the Schrodinger equation, what is the Schrodinger equation? We are taking here the Schrodinger equation in only one dimension. So therefore, Schrodinger equation in one dimension is going to be d square psi by dx square plus 8 pi square m divided by s minus v psi equals to 0. Here you can observe I have taken it as only d square psi by dx square. I have not taken d square psi by dx square plus d square psi by dy square plus d square psi by dz square. If we take all three of them, we are considering the particle in 3 dimensions. But here what we say that the particle is allowed to move only in one direction. Therefore we are taking the Schrodinger equation only in one dimension. Therefore we have taken only the one term, that is d square psi by dx square, plus the remaining terms as it is 8 pi square m by square into e minus v psi equals to 0. So this is the time independent Schrodinger equation in one dimension, right? Now what we do is, for this Schrodinger equation we apply the boundary conditions. That is, what is the condition? Here x equals to 0, here x equals to a. Where is the particle? The particle is present inside the box. By applying these boundary conditions, we try to solve the Schrodinger equation. Therefore what we say here is, inside the well, means inside this box, what is v? V equals to 0. Why v equals to 0? I said there is no external force or external field acting on the particle. Therefore the potential energy is taken as 0, right? And it also indicates that there is a particle present inside the box. So if you say inside the well v equals to 0, if you substitute v equals to 0 in this Schrodinger equation, v equals to 0 here, what this is going to be? This is going to be d square psi by dx square, this term as it is, plus 8 pi square m by s square, this term as it is, into e psi equals to 0. Why? Because v equals to 0 inside the well, inside the box, right? So we take it as equation number 2, this is equation number 1, right? Then we are making some simplification. That is, this equation is expressed as minus s square by 8 pi square m into d square psi by dx square equals to e psi. That is, this e psi is kept as it is, and this is transferred to the other side, and it is simplified in this form. Why? Because now this equation is of the form h psi equals to e psi. Whereas what is h? H is an operator. What is that? In this case, it's going to be, here this term. All this term is taken as h psi equals to e psi. So this equation is of the form h psi equals to e psi, where h is an operator, psi is the wave function, e gives us the energy, and psi is again a wave function. So this equation is of the form h psi equals to e psi. Wherever you have an equation of the form h psi equals to e psi, it implies that this is going to give us an eigenvalue. An equation of this form is going to give us an eigenvalue as per the quantum mechanics. So once you say this is of this form, it is sure that from this equation we can calculate the energy of the particle. So this equation is, that eigenvalue is confirmed by this equation, right? Then now here in this equation 2, we are putting this as what is known as k square. That is, put 8 pi square m e by s square equals to k square. All this is taken as k square. So if we replace this term by k square, what we get? This is going to be d square psi by dx square plus k square psi equals to 0. By replacing all this term with k square. So this is what we get. Now if you observe this equation, what is this? D square psi by dx square plus k square psi equals to 0. This is basically a second order differential equation. Right? Second order differential equation. So this second order differential has got a standard solution. The second order differential has got a standard solution. So now we try to find out the solution of this second order differential equation. Therefore we say discussion of the solutions, that is, the solution is given as, the solution of this second order differential is given as psi equals to c cos kx plus d sin sin kx. This is the standard solution of a second order differential equation. Standard solution of a second order differential equation, that is psi equals to c cos kx plus d sin kx, right? Then for this equation, now we apply the boundary conditions and we try to get the value of c, value of d, which are the constants, and we try to calculate the value of k. The purpose of here is to find out the value of c, the value of d, and to find out the value of d. Once you find out those values, we get the wave function, or we get the wave function psi, right? So for that, what we do, we apply the boundary conditions. What are the boundary conditions? Here we say that psi equals to 0 at x equals to 0. We say that at x equals to 0, psi equals to 0. What is psi? Basically, psi is a wave function. What is the wave function? The wave function describes the status of the wave. It tells us at any point of time what is the status of the wave. Now what we are saying here, the particle is present inside the well, but outside the well there is no particle, and even on the boundary also there is no particle present. The particle is allowed to move only in the x direction within the well. So there is no particle either on this wall, or there is no particle either on this wall. If there is no particle on this wall, then there is no corresponding wave function also. If there is no particle on this wall, then there is no corresponding wave function also, because there is no particle at all. If there is no particle, then there is no de Broglie wave associated with it, right? Where is the particle? The particle is present within the wall, right? Within the well. So therefore, here on this wall there is no particle. If there is no particle, there is no corresponding wave function. If there is no wave function, we say that psi equals to 0. So psi equals to 0 and x equals to 0 means that there is no particle on that wall. Therefore, the corresponding wave function is going to be equals to 0. So if you put psi equals to 0 here and x equals to 0 in this equation is going to be what? Psi is written as 0. So c cos, this is going to be cos 0 plus d sin 0. By substituting the value of psi as 0 and x as 0, right? So what is sin 0? Sin 0 is 0. So this term is going to be 0. What is cos 0? Cos 0 is 1. Therefore, we get the value of c equals to 0. So by applying this boundary condition, we got the value of c, and the value of c comes out to be equals to 0. So we obtained the value of one constant of this equation, that is c, which comes out to be equals to 0. Then we apply one more boundary condition. What is that? Psi equals to 0 even at x equals to a, means again on this wall, the value of psi is given as 0. Why? Because again on the other wall there is no particle. The particle is moving within the box. So again on the second wall there is no particle. If there is no particle, the corresponding wave function is also going to be 0. Indicating what? Indicating that there is no particle on the other wall. Or at x equals to a also, psi is going to be 0. So therefore we say psi equals to 0 and x equals to a. So if you apply this condition to this equation, what we get? We get psi equals to 0 equals to c cos ka plus d sin ka by putting psi as 0 and x as a. So we get 0 equals to c cos ka plus d sin ka. But what is c here? The value of c is known to us. It is 0. So substitute c equals to 0 here. This term is going to be 0, right? So what we get? We get d sin ka equals to 0. D sin ka equals to 0. So once you get d sin k equals to 0, here we say here d is not equals to 0. Here d is not equal to 0. If d is not equal to 0, then sin k has to be equals to 0. Now this is something like if you say 2x equals to 0, here 2 cannot be equals to 0. Why? Because it's a constant. So what is the only possibility? Only x can be equals to 0. right? The same way, d sin k is equals to 0 means that d cannot be equals to 0. Therefore, sin k has to be equals to 0. If sin k is equals to 0, what it means? What it means? It means that k equals to sin inverse of 0 or k equals to n pi. Sin k equals to 0 means k equals to sin inverse of 0, which implies that k equals to n pi. Or in other words, k is equals to n pi by a. K is equals to n pi by a. So what we got? We got the value of k. We got the value of k as n pi by a. So earlier we got the value of c, it is as 0. Now by putting the boundary condition on second wall, we got the value of k as n pi by a. Right? So if you substitute the value of c equals to 0 and k equals to n pi by a in equation 5, that is equation 5. That is, in this equation, substitute the value of c and k. What we get? We get psi equals to d sin n pi by a into x. That is, substitute c equals to 0 here. This term is going to be 0. So we get psi equals to d sin k is replaced by what? N pi by a. So d sin n pi by a into x. That we call it as psi n in general. So we get psi equals to d sin n pi by a into x. So here we have got one more constant. What is that constant? It is d. It is d. So in order to calculate the value of d, what we do is we do the normalization. We do the normalization for this equation. For this equation, what is the process of normalization? When I say normalization, what we do? We take the integration of that wave function by applying the limits, lower limit and upper limit, and by equating that wave function to equals to 1, we try to calculate the value of the constant. Therefore, so when we do normalization, means when we say integration of 0 to a, and when you integrate this by equating it to 1, means if you take it as integration of 0 to a of mod psi square equals to 1. If you do normalization like this, by equating it to 1, by substituting the value of the psi n here, if you do simplification, we are going to get the value of d as what? The value of d comes out to be root 2 by a. So by doing normalization like this, it is by taking the limit as 0 to a, by 0 to a, the lower limit is 0, upper limit is a. Therefore, by integrating between the lower limit and the upper limit, the wave function psi n. So this is the wave function psi n, right? So we are taking the normalization, that is mod psi square, and this is equated to 1. Why we are doing all these things? In order to calculate the constant value of d. If you substitute that value here, and if you simplify and if you calculate the value of d, the value of d comes out to be root 2 by a. Root 2 by a. So if you substitute this value in this equation, what we get? We get psi n equals to root 2 by a into sin n pi by a into x. So this is going to be the wave function. Sin equals to root 2 by a into sin n pi by a into x. So this is going to be the wave function of the particle which is present in a box and which is allowed to move in only one direction. Allowed to move in one direction. Here you can see what is n. N can take the value of 0, 1, 2, 3, so and so. So I told you in the previous class, when you solve this second order differential equation, we get n number of solutions. Not one, we get n number of solutions. But all the solutions will not be taken as proper functions or eigenfunctions. You can see here, if we take n equals to 1, we get psi 1. N equals to 2, we get psi 2. N equals to 3, we get psi 3. N equals to 4, we get psi 4, and so and so. So there will be n number of wave functions, psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi 4, so and so. But all of them will not be the proper wave functions or the eigenfunctions. So only those functions will satisfy the three conditions. What are those? psi is single valued, psi is finite everywhere, psi and its first derivative are continuous. Only those wave functions which satisfy all the three conditions will be called as eigenfunctions. Will be called as eigenfunctions. So this is the wave function of this particle in a box. But what is our main aim? Our aim is to calculate the energy associated with the particle which is present in a box. So in order to calculate the energy, what we do here is by putting k equals to n pi by a in equation 4. What is that? Here we have value of k. What is k? N pi by a. Right? So this value of k we are going to put in equation 4. What is equation 4? This is equation 4. This is equation 4. So if you substitute the value of k here, what is the value of k? N pi by a. If you square it, what is going to be? It's going to be n square pi square divided by a square. And if you simplify, what happens? This pi square get cancelled with each other. And if you calculate the value of E, what we get? We get E equals to n square s square divided by 8m a square. E equals to n square s square divided by 8m a square. Where what is h? H is the Planck's constant. What is m? M is the mass of the particle which is moving in the box. And what is the a? A is the width of the box. That is a is the width of the box. So we can call this in general as E n equals to n square s square divided by 8 ma square. So what this equation gives you? This equation gives you the energy of the particle which is present in the box and which is allowed to move in only one direction. Again, if you look at this equation, n can take the value of 0, 1, 2, 3, so and so. That is, there are again going to be n number of energy values. Just like I told you, there are going to be n number of wave functions and there are going to be n number of energy values. But all of them are not the corresponding eigenfunctions. Only that function which satisfies all those conditions will be taken as an eigenfunction. Corresponding to that eigenfunction, there is going to be a corresponding eigenvalue. If you say psi1, psi2, psi3, psi4 and so are the wave functions, if out of them psi1 is the eigenfunction, then corresponding to psi1 we have E1. E1 is going to be the eigenvalue. If psi5 is the eigenfunction, corresponding to that we have E5, that is going to be the eigenvalue. So whichever function becomes an eigenfunction, the corresponding energy is going to be the eigenvalue. It's going to be the eigenvalue. That is one important thing. So from this equation we can calculate the energy of the particle which is present in the box. And one more interesting thing is, from this we can draw some very important conclusions. What are the conclusions? You can see, as you substitute the value of, let's say here if you take the value of n as 0, if you take the value of n as 0, what's going to happen? This is going to be 0 because n square h square. So if it equals to 0 here, all E is going to be 0. This is what? The energy of the particle is going to be 0. So what this indicates? If you say n equals to 0 here, the corresponding wave function, if you substitute n equals to 0 here, this is going to be 0, or wave function is going to be 0. Means what? Psi is going to be 0. What the meaning of psi equals to 0? There is no particle. There is no particle. Means what? This says that there is no particle present inside the box. But the fact is that there is a particle present inside the box. Therefore, you cannot take the value of n as 0. Because if you take the value of n equals to 0, energy is going to be 0, the wave function is going to be 0. If wave function becomes 0, it indicates that there is no particle present inside the box. But which is not true. There is a particle present inside the box. Therefore, the minimum value of n, is going to be what? N equals to 1. N equals to 1. So if we take the value of n equals to 1, what we get is E equals to s square divided by 8ma square. We get E equals to s square divided by 8ma square. So this is obtained by taking the value of n as 1. So this energy we call it as what is known as, we call this what is known as 0 point energy. what is known as zero point energy. What is zero point energy? Zero point energy is the energy of the particle in the ground state, or it is the minimum energy of the particle. Minimum energy of the particle. Why minimum? Because we have taken the value of n equals to 1. You cannot take the value of n as 0. So if you take the value of n equals to 1 and if you calculate that energy we call it what is known as zero point energy, and that 0 point is written as 0 point, that is 0 point is equals to s squared by 8ma square. That is going to be the 0 point energy, that is the minimum energy of the particle, or we also call it as the ground state energy of the particle in the ground state. If you take n equals to 2, it is going to be the excited state, n equals to 3 excited state, n equals to 4 the further first excited state, second excited state, third excited state, so and so. So the energy of the particle in the ground state is obtained by taking n equals to 1, n equals to 2 first excited state, n equals to 3 second excited state, n equals to 4 third excited state, so and so, right? That is about 0 point energy. So one more interesting thing is, if you look at this equation, E equals to n square by 8 ma square. If you substitute the value of n as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you calculate the value of energy, we get certain discrete values. When you substitute n equals to 1, and if you substitute the value of Planck's constant, if you substitute the m, mass of the particle 9.1 × 10⁻31, if you substitute the value of A, the width of the potential well, you get some particular value. If you substitute n equals to 2, again you get a particular discrete value. N equals to 3, again we get a particular discrete value. Means by taking the value of n equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so, the ground state, first state, second state, third state, so and so, we calculate the energy. That energy is going to be discrete. It is not going to be a continuous energy. N equals to 1, some particular value. N equals to 2, again some particular value. N equals to 3, some particular value. What I mean is, if you draw the energy levels, the energy levels E equals to 1, there is some particular value. E equals to 2, E equals to 3, E equals to 4, E equals to 5. Means the energy values are going to be discrete. They are not continuous. They are not continuous. They are not E equals to 1, E equals to 2, E equals to 3, E equals to 4, E equals to 5. There is a certain fixed value of energy which is discrete, which is not continuous. So, as per quantum mechanics, the energy of a particle is discrete. It is quantized. What is the meaning of quantized? Quantized means it is discrete and finite. The energy is discrete and finite. N equals to 1, this is the value. N equals to 2, this is the energy. N equals to 3, this is the energy. N equals to 4, this is the energy. Means they are discrete and finite. Means the energy is quantized. Energy is quantized, it is not continuous. Whereas, as per the classical mechanics, the energy of a particle is continuous. Energy of a particle is continuous. Whereas, as per the quantum mechanics, the energy of a particle is not continuous, it is discrete, and that is the meaning of quantization. That is one of the very important difference between classical mechanics and quantum mechanics. Classical mechanics says energy of a particle like an electron is continuous. Quantum mechanics says energy of a particle like an electron is not continuous, it is discrete and finite, or in other words, the energy is quantized. It is one of the very important difference between the quantum mechanics and that of the classical mechanics. And one more important difference is, as per the classical mechanics, the energy of a particle at absolute 0 Kelvin is 0. Whereas, as per the quantum mechanics, if you take n equals to 1, that we call it as 0 point energy. If you substitute the value of H, A, M, A, if you substitute all these values, and if you calculate, we get some finite value. It is not again going to be 0. Means the energy of a particle at 0 Kelvin is again not going to be 0 as per quantum mechanics. as per quantum mechanics, whereas as per the classical mechanics, the energy of a particle at 0 Kelvin is again going to be 0. So these are the important conclusions we can draw from this energy equation. That is going to be one of the very important application of the time independent Schrodinger wave equation. Therefore we say particle in a box, particle in a one-dimensional box is an application of one of the application of time independent Schrodinger wave equation. Time independent Schrodinger wave equation, wherein we calculate the energy of the particle which is present in the box and assume to move in only one dimension. Assume to move in only one dimension. We calculate the energy. From that energy, we draw some important conclusions which will be very useful for us in discussing some other real-time problems. So I think this is all about the particle in a one-dimensional box problem. I think we'll stop at this point. We'll discuss some other topic in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye bye.